Hello, welcome. My name is Achapap. I'm a dedicated Nikke content creator, and it's 40 degrees in my room. And today we are wearing a swimsuit again because it's 40 degrees in my room, and we don't want to be on brand with Nikke. Of course, we are. So I just enjoyed like the last video, like I think overly edited beginner guide to Nikke, and that channel had another video about Nikke, which is called Nikke in Actual Nutshell. The last one was very informative, maybe a little bit too much information in 70 minutes, and this one is actually pretty short, so I want to check it out. Let's try and see what's in there.
For decades, the anime scene has been hard at work perfecting the greatest of mankind's treasures, the waifu. And then, sometime later, we got waifus with guns, waifus but nuns. And now we have waifus with buns. The premise of Nikke starts off pretty simple. Robotic aliens, known as Rapture, show up out of nowhere and start taking over the world. Humans take refuge underground and create an army of cybernetic super soldiers, known as Nikke. Why do they look like cute anime girls?
ニケの体は人間だった頃理想としていた形をベースに作られる。
As I was getting into the game, one of the first things I noticed about it were the assets. But as I played further into the game, as I had time to see what was beyond the waifus and jiggle physics, I started to realize there was a lot more to the game than I was going to give it credit for. Let's start with the characters. Starting out, you, the commander, are enlisted to command Nikkes. This Nikke has a big gun. This Nikke uses a sword. This Nikke failed No Nut November. But when looking beyond the flashy animations, when looking past the cool character designs, you start to notice something. The more time you spend around these characters, the more you see how they react to the world around them. The more they start to become something beyond just an anime trope attached to a PNG. And then you have your typical tsundere waifu. Now, let's talk gameplay. Nikke is a game that features shooter mechanics intertwined with real-time strategy elements, all bundled into the convenience of an idle game. In terms of content, there's almost too much to do in the game. Campaign missions, event missions, interception bosses. While this can seem daunting at first, most of the daily activities can be done idly using the auto battle feature, or you can be a sweaty nerd and manual a couple stages to try advance your progress. Now, if you're wondering, packet, should I send this game? Is it worth wailing on? The important thing to remember is, whether you're free to play or a whale, both species will eventually hit what's known as the wall.
I believe I can fly.
The wall is the point in the game where, after the first week or so of playing, you find yourself needing more materials or better team comps to progress further into the campaign. For those unfamiliar with gacha games, new characters are typically acquired from what's commonly known as a banner. It's here where you can spend your endgame currency or real money to recruit new characters. In Nikke's case, the rates are rather generous compared to many other gachas, as getting dupes is also essential to progressing through endgame content. So instead of trying to pick up girls in games like Overwatch...
Oh my god,
Nice
that was
job.
insane. You sound kinda cute, babe.
And that's why I don't talk till the last minute. You can just pick them up in Nikke.
Approved! Approved! No. It's now illegal. I don't know. Excellent argument. Approved!
When it comes to resource gathering, you could spend 30 minutes or so going through every daily activity the game has to throw at you. Or you could just be like, Alright, time to get started. Okay, that looks nice. Alright, see you in 12 hours. You can invest 30 minutes farming everything, or a mere 30 seconds, and still accumulate a slight majority of the resources you'd have gotten for the day. When it comes to the main story, progression comes easy early on, but one of the few gripes I have is how much longer it takes to advance the main story in later chapters, making it a bit harder to maintain a steady pace of reading through the story, and is something I hope gets tweaked in the future, as the main story was one of the biggest draws for me. Or in other words, I like it for the plot. The plot was just a bonus. Of course, there's far more beyond the campaign for anyone as a free-to-play or whale to get invested in. Event stories, side stories, co-op events. You could spend hours upon hours reading character bond stories, or be perfectly content idly farming most of your resources as you go about your day. However you choose to play the game, there'll always be plenty to take in. From the absolute banger of an OST that gives each map and menu a unique feel, to the incredible writing that takes itself seriously in the moments it needs to, and is able to let loose when it doesn't. Now, the game ain't perfect. It's had a few bugs, some modes can feel a bit repetitive, but for all its faults, Nikke appeals to me in a way that some of the most polished games out there couldn't. Writing, art style, gameplay. It's a game with its own take on nuanced stories, driven by righteous, selfish, tragic characters, and ties them all together to make something incredible. This game can be called a lot of things, but there's one thing that can be said. Few games are perfect in the beginning, but even fewer are worth sticking around for, even when they're not.
Oh, that was very well said. So I guess that was Nikke in a nutshell. Was I think pretty precise. I can agree on a lot of the stuff. She or him. I don't know if Poke is actually male or female, but today it doesn't matter anymore. It could be also like non-binary whatsoever. It's more than it's on the first glance. Definitely more to Nikke than I believed it would be in the beginning too. Yeah, it was kind of blasphemy for me to say how can this little gacha game be more complex than Yu-Gi-Oh! Now I know it is. Took me a week to figure that out. Well, I hope you liked it. And maybe if there is something else we should watch or react to, just send it my way. I'm gonna check it out, especially if it's concerning Nikke. See you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye bye. Your Ai-chan. Yeah!